Hello grade 12s and welcome back to the Junior Techie online teaching platform. I'm Similo Sienga and I'll be instructor for this video. In this section, we'll be determining the internal resistance of a battery. Let's get started off. What we will need for this experiment is essentially a resistor and a battery, red and black connecting wires, and an ammeter and a voltmeter. Let's get started off with the experiment. First up, let's set up the following circuit. We've got a battery, a switch, a resistor, and an ammeter. Let's now see how it looks up close. Alright, so first off, we're going to record the EMF value from the battery. Essentially, this is an open circuit value where the battery is not necessarily fully connected to the circuit. The switch is essentially open. The value that we're getting is 1.365. However, we're essentially going to run this experiment 3 times to get a much more accurate reading. Now we're going to insert our resistor into the circuit, which will essentially close off our switch. We've now closed our switch, and as you can see, the ammeter now has a value of 0.013. This will now be the values that we use for our calculations. Let's now move on to the calculations. Essentially, we're going to be using Ohm's law to essentially determine the internal resistance. We know that the total resistance in the circuit is equal to the internal resistance plus the external resistance. That's now the lowercase r and the uppercase r respectively. We know from your formula sheet that the EMF is equal to the current multiplied by the total resistance. We've already determined the EMF and the current and the resistance value we get from your resistor. We can now, through algebraic means, calculate the small r, which is the internal resistance, to be 4.846 ohms. We now know how to determine the internal resistance of a battery. I will see you in the next video.